Tee 'em up. Heinous here. Because I'm gonna let you know, if you're in the water, you're gonna die. Illuminati dies here today, Mom.
It's a shark in the zoo. They say in Babylon, put the mark on him too. His whole body light so we can maul other guys. If my all-seeing eye going dark on me too. And them coffers for you. I'm ready so the devil who I call out first. What? I heard God call it, said behind the great wall. He I made a sword off to kick them all off earth. Hey, so my click don't play. Haven't gotta choose the wolf or the lamb. Get shot down by a pig in the street. Why do niggas gotta beef when it's a whole lot of ham? Alright. It's a hole in the dam. They can't flood Merc, so they shoot down gangs. Merc fly high, baby, Merc won't die. I don't see nobody here that can shoot down planes. It's like I shoot down veins. You're turning everybody in the hood to an addict. You look 6th grade to a bully with a habit. Cause I'm a switchblade or a fully automatic. Let's go. It's only 2 ways out. Don't ever try to sit or think of running cause you can't. It's only screaming die while you running out of tank. Or screaming try bitch while you running out the bank. My click don't pay. I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. My hoe act right like she came with an Emmy. She want black pipe cause she came with the Remy. Ain't no pain even in me. You probably wouldn't know where I blow back kush. It's 5 knockouts when it's 5 cops out. Or it's 5 shots out from the big bad wolf. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave and I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave and I'm probably in the range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say this is the only way I know to handle this. A whole lot of guns and a whole lot of cannabis.
Shots fired at ScrewTube, but shots out to you carbon babies. This is your melanated warrior, Heru Heinous, and this is another installment of Facts Over Feelings. Leave your feelings at the door so we can get to the facts, because the facts are the only things that matter in a race where the first one to the mind is the winner. What's up with your Crystallogians? We gotta, for this Monday, we're gonna kick it off right. I see so we got King Chris in the building. We got Riz in the building. What's up, Riz? I know Chef is in the building. What's up with you? We got Zay. Zay said the song never gets old. Hope not, man. Spitting that fire, So, yeah, we're going to get into it because, we got a lot to go over. We just going to recap just a little bit, too. But I really want, because I felt like I missed a couple of key points, too, as well. But I did that on purpose, though. I mean, even though I don't be realizing I be doing it on purpose, I know I did that on purpose. Because some new information came into, not new information in terms of new per se, but it helped to really gain even more clarity on this concept. And then we're going to take a look at a video that we've already looked at in one of the previous segments, because it's going to help drive it home. Because like we said, having being fundamentally sound is of the utmost importance, because many times we'll get new information, through mass media, or somebody will come to us and they'll relay some information, and pretty soon we'll forget about the fundamentals. We'll trail off onto these 5th, 6th levels of understanding, or what things may be or what they may appear to be. But we got to understand that a fundamental approach will keep you sound. Okay, and it will keep you focused, because you have to remember what the game plan is. And we looked at some movies that did what? That brought that out, that helped to accentuate this narrative that we're pushing, which is that from this science called X-ray crystallography, they've gained a better understanding of how this world operates. And like I said, that should be something that you should never, ever take away from when you're analyzing something. That should always be a part of when you analyze any data, right? In terms of what you get from the esoteric, because this is a science that they've used in order to acquire that information. Now, when we were looking at the World of Worlds, since we don't want to go back and look at a video where it's mostly black and you got to look at a small window, let's just kind of visualize for a second what I was relaying to you guys. Because remember, we was talking about how in the beginning, as it was narrated by Morgan Freeman, they had showed, these illustrations of a virus, right? And then we had talked about how these aliens through plasma plasma through lightning came, shot through the ground. Matter of fact, before I even get started, because I'm about to run off on a tangent because I got to get this right. Let me get ones in the chat if you guys can hear me all right. Obviously, there's going to be a delay. What's up, Albert's in the building? That's what's up. Make sure you guys can hear me okay. Make sure you guys can hear me. Let me get ones in the chat if the audio is all right before we get to rocking and rolling. So I'm gonna wait. Sovereign Energy said, I'm here no more time. That's what's up. All right. Okay. So yeah, in the movie, you know, remember he was with the reporter, the planes that went down. It's this one scene, and she showed that they were coming from the lightning, right? And then they were entering into these machines and then coming up out of the ground, harvesting human beings and extracting the plasma. Mind you that the world communicates, or the elite communicates, through signs and symbols. We know this is symbolic of how they operate in this so-called reality, where if you go give blood, they're taking the plasma. They'll give you the blood back. And remember, this plasma is of a gold color. We know whatever you want to call them, the Anunnaki or whatever you want to call these individuals or these beings, they came here for the gold, and that is the plasma. You are the main resource, okay? Or the primary resource, okay? So the thing, what we were able to see is that it also broke the conventional framework in terms of how they promote aliens to you about coming out of the sky. These came from up under the ground, and these machines were resting up under the ground. And remember how she related to them was like, it seems like they've been waiting to do this for a long time. Now, when you go back to this book that they've had you use as a spiritual tool, a guidebook, remember they changed the names and they changed the symbols. Remember the God that they got you serving, we know it's not ours. We know it's not ours, okay? They put a little bit of the truth in there and obviously covered it over with a whole bunch of mayonnaise, right? In order for us to get our power, give our power to them. So when they talk about this garden that their God put you in, you seen from this movie War of the Worlds, it conveyed to you that these gods came to harvest you. They waited till the human population grew to a certain point and they came for a harvest. That's why the Bible talks about a harvest. So it is very, very important for you to understand that, isn't it something that this apocalypse and harvest are almost synonymous with one another? And that when human beings understand that they can also be seen as a food or a resource, then your mind changes with the individuals who you let rule you, because now you know that they are unapologetic in their stance and that they will get to their end game by any means necessary, because they will not compromise their end game from someone or something that they consider as a resource or they feed upon. They feed off of us. So why would they sit up here and negotiate with you? Is what you have to understand. And remember also in the movie, remember when that part I talked about but didn't really, put this point in there, which was very, very powerful, which is, remember, the machines had lost their plasma shield, the aliens around their machines. And why was this the case? Because by the time they came to harvest the human beings, our blood had changed. It had evolved. The plasma had evolved. So it made the aliens sick. So they lost their plasma shields, and then they were able to, then the army was able to fire weapons at them and kill the aliens. But it was the same, like I said, the motif is almost the same in Independence Day, where they had to inject a virus, into the mothership in order to deactivate the shield so that they can successfully revolt against the aliens and stuff, rebel against the aliens. So this is this whole thing. We got, what is what we see, which is a common motif too as well, is this harvesting of human beings. Okay. And at the end times seem, eerily similar to a harvest. Okay. That their God put you in the garden. What you do with a garden? Why would you put human beings in a garden? See, we look at it as like, a paradise, but notice that they want to use the term garden because if you notice that they harvest us. This is very deep for your understanding. We're going to go off into the science, because if you think this is a stretch, you better think critically about this. You better think critically about this. That's why they want to label you as consumers and useless eaters and everything like that, because it takes away from your importance. It marginalizes your existence, and it gives them the justification that's needed, which they don't need anyways. But the justification that's used gets you to believe that these people are somewhat human, like they're not here for what they're here for. All right. So let's go and compare a couple of things too. Compare a couple of videos to also bring out another big point, because we showed these videos in the previous segment. So we're going to go take a look back at this because it's a very important point. We want to, like I said, we want to make sure that we hone in on these points and really, you know, this is a part of this video really going to be centered on the fundamental approach to, you know, to attacking this, because if you allow people to steer you in many different directions and you lose sight of what this is really all about, then I'm telling you, it's going to muddy everything up. This is how you want to attack this, is fundamentally, right? You want to be fundamentally sound. And how we do that is by this, what we're doing right now. So let me pull up these videos that we took a look at, and we're going to compare them. One's a movie, and obviously one's a video that we looked at about electricity and the idea of electricity not being what they had taught us to be, which is practically everything, right? But and then we're also going to contrast that to deja vu, because I gave you those two sources for a reason, and then we're going to, you know, bring out a very important point. Now, first, we're going to take a look at the video about electricity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Hold on one second. Oh, shoot. All right. Remember that scene with Denzel Washington when, you know, I showed you this in obviously the movie Deja Vu, him with Paula Patton. He's this ATF agent. And he also is you know, working on this case with the government. And they have this obviously top secret technology where they're allowed to look 4 days in the past, 4.5 days into the past. And so he realized that they're lying to him, right? And that this technology is you know, live and in action. They're not able to look back. They're actually in a coexistent sort of. He's seeing the symbiotic relationship between the energy. He's existing on one plane simultaneously with the past existing on the other, but they're bridging these dimensions, right? This theoretical so-called Einstein-Rosen bridge or wormhole, basically. So he shines this laser through there, which interrupts the wormhole. Or the technology. Now, how is he able to do that? Well, we figured out how he was able to do that. The movie doesn't disclose this, but what does disclose this, right, is this. See, he's doing the same thing, but what did he tell you about it? So we're going to play this video. We want to preface this by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, education, scholarship, but overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. So let's let him talk for 1 hour second, because we're just going to go over these things. We're not going to let the video play long, but this is very important for this point.
Fields are oscillating perpendicular to each other and they are in phase, meaning...
Okay, hold on. Let's go back just a little bit more.
Physicist James Clerk Maxwell realized that light is made up of oscillating electric and magnetic fields.
Light is made up of oscillating fields. So remember when Denzel Washington shown that laser through their technology, they said, oh, what happened? It started, everything went black. They said, what happened to the field? What broke the field? He said, that's what broke the field. That's what broke the field. Remember that? How did it break the field? Because it has a field of its own. It has a field of its own, these oscillating fields. Matter of fact, let me make sure. Can you let me hold on one second, you guys. Let me make sure. Can you guys hear me as I switch screens? I forgot to check that. I forgot to make sure, because I was going on, and I forgot to check to make sure that you guys could hear me as I switch screens and stuff. Let me make sure that's all right before we continue on. It's a field of its own, these oscillating fields. Matter of fact, let me make sure. Can you let me hold on one second, you guys. Let me make sure. Can you guys hear me as I switch screens? I forgot to check that. I forgot to make sure, because I was going on and on. All right, so yeah. So we good. Make sure that you guys can hear me as I switch. So I had to just check that. We'll wait. All right, so you guys will hear the delay too as well. All right, so let's go back to that. All right, so we're gonna play.
The fields are oscillating perpendicular to each other and they are in phase, meaning when one is at its maximum, so is the other wave.
Okay, so we wanted to clear that up. So we seen what was going on with Denzel Washington when he was able to aim this laser, because this laser also has energy of its own. Light has energy of its own. Light is carrying information, electromagnetic information. All light is carrying it. Okay, but like we said before, when the Blanco began to understand this, he began to win Nobel Prizes within his community, within the scientific community. But as we've seen every step of the way, as he knew a lot of these things in the 19th century, that means the 1800s. We just showed you a video evidence of that. What did he do? He was still weaponizing these things. So you think that, see, a lot of times this is why racism is so powerful, because people think that the Blanco at some point in time just didn't know better. He didn't know. He had to grow into becoming humane and civilized. Oh, that was back in the day. We're not like our ancestors. It's too late. You have a system that's running on nuclear power, a system that's self-sufficient, a system that is self-refueling. It's too late for all of that. Can't no Blanco come tell me nothing because your system already in place. I don't give a fuck how much you be moaning about I ain't like them. Nigga, it's a system already running. It don't need you to be racist no more. Get out of my face, nigga, with that watch. I know what time it is. What the fuck is these motherfuckers talking about? All right? So as you can see, that's how they do it. And the movie don't want to let you know about these things because most people watch this movie and like, I was confused. I really didn't get it. Yeah, because you don't know the science. Now you know the science. You can get how he could interrupt that, interrupt the field, interrupt the technology that gave them the capability of looking back in the past 4.5 days ago. All right. So this is very, very important. OK, so let me go back, switch screens and stuff like this, because we got a lot to get into. And that allow us to really understand. Hold on one second. Allow us to really understand. We talk about when we hear about our light, or me and Fam was even talking about it not too long ago as I was on a conference call, when they talk about let your light shine and how important light is. We're going to obviously delve off into even more evidence to erase any doubt about that. But it's all about light and angels, and we got to understand light is the angel. See, this anthropomorphism or anthropomorphizing of Mother Nature is what has caused all of this confusion, right? Because we have to realize that when you make God man or female and all of this different stuff without understanding the principles, right? Just from what you see physically, without understanding the principles, then that's what becomes a problem. Then you look for that when these are only really representations of the energy. Right? Different aspects of the energy. We know we're not complete. We know it's much to learn. The energy system that we come from is all incomplete. Okay? We are just reflections of the energy. Okay? But it's just the point that when we take away from the what it is at the fundamental level, this is what causes all the confusion. It is light itself. It is what we're seeing that has all of these properties. Okay. Now, and then simultaneously, when we do that, when we get away from that conventional framework, we take power away from the Blanco and his ability to become God. Because like we said, he can make all this stuff look like magic. He manipulates light. He manipulates the electromagnetic spectrum, which we talk about, our radio waves, microwaves, visible light, infrared, X-rays, gamma rays. When he manipulates that spectrum, he can come out with all of this technology and he can seem or appear like God to you because it's the old rabbit out of the hat, but you don't know how the rabbit got in the hat. Okay? So this is why this is important. That's why we even got to think higher, because this is how these things get accomplished. It's not by thinking at a certain level. Like even Einstein said it. He said, you're not going to be able to solve 21st century problems with a 20th century mindset. Shades of that. That's not verbatim, but that's close to what he was talking about. So we have to have that same mindset in order to be successful. Now, the other thing is that when we were talking about those things, when we and I failed to mention that. I kind of hinted to it, but I didn't really talk about it to the extent that I wanted to talk about it too. So, but before we get into that, we want to show another scene from a movie when we talk about them stealing, because remember, one of the key things that we want our women to know and our men to know is that this being the feminine principle, our women are the closest to the energy. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously we know this in the creative process and birthing in, other so-called human beings or other crystallogens into this crystal framework. They are a big part of it. So they have a deeper energy. We know this even when we take a look at their science. They say how, the X chromosome has over 900 genes versus only 50 for the Y. You see what I'm saying? So we see all that power. You see the size of a woman's egg in comparison to a sperm cell. You see the power that the woman holds. And once again, We have to state that we don't care about your societal constructs you buy into, or your stereotypes or stigmas or whatever. You have to understand that the power is not going to die or go away because you see it in a particular way. It is what it is. Our women are powerful regardless if you feel like they live up to their potential or not. The brain is powerful regardless if you can't add, subtract, or know your ABCs. Doesn't take away from the power of something because you failed to acknowledge it or failed to use it or live up to your own potential. All right. So basically, when we look at this movie named, Lucy, some of you have seen this movie. A lot of you haven't. Very powerful stuff. But once again, remember, I told you the role that the Blanco woman plays in getting forth toward the esoteric, because everybody knows that this movie was supposed to have a black woman as the lead role, period, because it is what the black woman is about. But we told you who's trying to usurp that power. I told you this. I've given you plenty of evidence. All right, but let's go to a scene. I want to show you 2 scenes in this movie. Let me prime it right quick. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay, so I have it at the let's see, 37-minute mark. But I always watch this movie every once in a while anyways, because it's just so deep. You know what I'm saying? But she's staring at this tree. All right, she's staring at this tree. And remember, every scene that they put in the movie is calculated. All right, because they communicate through signs and symbols, and we must understand that. So hold on, because I can't have it play.
Of an atomic bomb, realize that they'd succeeded. If it really is CPH4, in this quantity, I'm amazed you're still alive.
All right. Hold on.
Women manufacture CPH4.
So let's I'm gonna stop this. Okay, first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the audio right quick, because this is a very important scene. So I'm gonna play the audio for this right quick in the scene, because this is what this movie is centered around. A pregnant woman. Now it's supposed to be a synthetic version of it. They say, oh, we don't know of this crystal that exists. So when you go out there and you research this, there'll be conflicting articles, if you will, or information out there. One supporting the idea that this exists, and some saying that, oh, it's totally pseudo. It doesn't really actually exist. But I'll let you judge for yourself after we present all this information in this segment is complete. But let's take a look at this scene and listen closely to this doctor as he's treating her, because she goes in there. Remember, she's transporting this new drug which causes you to be able to use more of your brain power. And this guy, and this Japanese cartel is having her her transporting it inside of her body, which is also symbolic, right? But she's talking to the doctor. So let's listen in right quick. All right, let's listen in right quick.
CPH4. Tell me about it.
Pregnant women manufacture CPH4 in the 6th week of pregnancy, in tiny quantities. For a baby, it packs the power of an atomic bomb. It's what gives the fetus the necessary energy to form all the bones in its body. I'd heard that they tried to make a synthetic version of it. Didn't realize that they'd succeeded. If it really is CPH4, in this quantity, I'm amazed you're still alive.
Okay. So it's this CPH4 that she's transporting in her body, right? And he's saying that, oh, this is a synthetic version of some molecule that's pushed by, that's given to the, to the baby by the pregnant woman in the 6th week of pregnancy, and it's emitted in very small quantities, and this, that, and the other, and it packs the power of an atomic bomb, et cetera, et cetera. And he said it helps to formulate the bones. Now, if you know the symbolism or the power of what he's relaying to her, we know that the bones is crystals, because we know the bones is made mostly up of calcium. We know when we look at that periodic table of elements, calcium is a metal or a crystal. It's only due to these certain disciplines, or the compartmentalization of information, or these different thought processes, that people associate calcium as a mineral, because that's what you taught in nutrition class and in basic science. But then in chemistry, you taught that it's a metal. Okay, it's a crystal. All right, and we finna, man, this is finna be a no doubt. We finna knock it out the park. We finna be through with this. Oh, it's something, the crystal framework. Is this a crystal network? Crystal this, crystal that. We about to put the nail in the coffin in this shit, right? And show you, like I said before, once again, how this all relates to the tree of life. Now, with all that being said, like he said, he's informing her about the power of this chemical, and why is it. You also notice what he ended with. He said, oh, well, you should be dead with that quantity, but it owes to the power of the female, how much energy she's able to hold. A male would have been dead, right? A man would have been dead, but not the female. All right. So I'm gonna show you some photos. All right. Let's go to this photo right quick. Let me prep it right quick. Let me prep it. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. So look, she's looking at the tree and she now is able to see the tree's energy. She's able to see the tree's energy and she's seeing the flows, matter of fact, but she's able to see all light. That's why if you notice this scene, remember the symbolism, the street lights on. Everything matters. These lights, colors, all light she's able to see. She's able to bend light. She's able to manipulate light. Okay, that's as you increasing your ability. Remember, the brain is a solid crystal. That's what we finna read some, man. This finna be explosive. You about to know this is the age of the great reveal. And I'm just happy to be giving a lot of this information to my people. I can't hold you up. All right. So she sees obviously all of this, the framework or the crystal framework becomes apparent to her. This is very deep symbolism. All right. So now we finna fast forward. We finna go to the hour and 14-minute mark. She's at 80%. Hold on 1 second. Didn't mean to do that. Man, I don't want no problem, ScrewTube. Hold up. Let me close this out right quick. Hold on.
What is she making? New generation computer, I presume.
Boom. Right there. Share my screen. Because I want you guys to see in movies why they do everything. Now, she was wearing this black dress this whole time. And this is what I told you, even in The Matrix, when you see Keanu Reeves and Neo, the one, which remind you, Will Smith was supposed to play Neo. And so even though they stole that movie from that black woman and stuff, they tried to make most of the characters black. They still tried to remain true from what she was trying to convey, but Will Smith turned the role down. He ended up doing Wild Wild West instead of The Matrix. So, it is what it is. But the point is you can see this is supposed to be a black woman playing this. Her dress and everything obviously was symbolic of the energy that was inside her because it emanates from her. And she's making this supercomputer because that's what the brain is. Remember, they told you they modeled all this technology from the human body. They tell you that the computers are modeled after the brain. All right. This is what you're not using. Mind you, this whole thing is about her using more of her crystal, more of her brain power. She's at 80% at this moment in time, able to build a new supercomputer. She used it by basically snatching all the energy around her because everything is energy. Everything is made of crystals all around you. You have to understand like that. She's showing you or showcasing to you symbolically that you can bond with everything in your environment because it is a crystal framework. This is why it's not far-fetched to now say that you could teleport or you could move objects because they all have a relationship with you. The only problem has been our disadvantage. They've been giving us the wrong crystals to create that electric field in our body to magnetize the iron in our blood. And we're going to see how important that is as we go through with, bringing out most of this information. But this is very key. And obviously, as you can see, this black goo, this blackness, ain't enough blackness coming out of no Blanco woman. But she's here to usurp your power. This is symbolic. Look at the contrast. She's on this side with this power. Look at these men, all in a group, supposed to be smart. Remember, I told you, the Blanco woman is showing you symbolically the place of men. She is showing you the place of men. That's why I'm telling you, man, this is a feminine energy-based planet. I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. It's not going to take away from the reality of this existence. All right. Now, let's close this out. What does this have to do when we, especially talking about the tree of life, right? Remember we told you how even this obsession with these mountains and things like that. Hold on, let me check the chat too out here. Sad. Said Hotep, I'll never forget my notification. But glad I made the live. No doubt, no doubt. And then you got Chef B talking about Indiana Jones with the crystal skull. No doubt. Oh, yeah. No deceit in my spirit. You say, I got a question. Yeah, we're going to do a little small Q&A. I'm going to try to run through this information, and we're going to get into a Q&A too right quick. It'll be quick because you know how YouTube do when I'm trying to get close to that 2-hour mark, all right? Dick Gregory said the brain is a real computer. Yep, that's true. So frequencies are specific crystal alignments, and so can you attract specific? Yeah, Hamichi, we finna go right into that. You know what I'm saying? Christian Powell said the primordial energy. Unica Rector said, hope I'm saying that right, said this is a woman plant. Yeah, sorry, we finna get into it, all right, because we got powerful information. So remember we were telling you, we showed you an article, and we finna go right back to this article. We showed you an article where we're talking about the olive, right? We hear about the Mount of Olives. We showed you the spiritual significance, the symbolic significance, the mythical significance, all of these things that are related to the olive tree. We talked to you about how the olive tree or the tree of life, let's just, matter of fact, instead of just even talking about it or brushing up on it, let's pull up the article again because we got to go into it anyways. But no. So, because I'm getting ahead of myself, let me slow down. Let it do this. But what we were saying was they kept it from you. Now, the chosen people that always, us being the sun people, remember, Shemesh is the Hebrew word. Also, Shemin is the Hebrew word for olive or the shining or the sun. This is the sun tree. This was the chosen tree. Some have even stated that this might have been the tree of life. It's scriptures in the Apocrypha, which a lot of the Bibles or certain religions don't like to use because they claim that we can't substantiate it. But they know that it helps people to lead them to it helps lead people to the truth, right? Or closer to the truth, that is. So we talked about how, the Mount of Olives is where Jesus, supposedly will return, and how olive trees and olives have this big significance with the chosen people. Because why? It is the chosen fruit or the chosen sexual energy of our central power source. We talked about how these olives that you find in the stores are not real olives that you need, right? Green olives are not mature olives. They're not ripened yet. So he places them in some vinegar. This is one of the reasons why you see olives in cans, black olives. You can never get them in glass jars. And we're finna provide you also with the resource because I forgot to do that in the last segment. So I wrote that down so that I don't forget that. But we're going to take a look at a couple articles before we go back to the spiritual article, right? Because we're finna show you how they keep your crystals from you. This is important. So when we get to talking about these things, a lot of our people be like, man, I tried those things. I've done the cocoa. I've done whatever that Heru nigga talking about. Trust me, I done it. I ain't even got to watch that nigga show. I already know I done this shit. But if they're giving you the wrong crystals, you haven't done it. You can't do it. You're going to be incapable of doing it. And remember, in order to magnetize the iron in your blood, iron can only become magnetic when it is an electrical field around it. We told you the only naturally magnetic iron was this gem called lodestone, which just so happens to be in the Smithsonian. So let's go on, and we're gonna bring up these articles right quick. Let me prime it right before we go into it, just to get it handy. All right, we're gonna take a look at a couple articles, but we're gonna read this. And so let's get into it. Share my screen. Let's read. All right. The real reason black olives are always canned. Okay. If you're a regular at the Olive Bar or your local grocery store, you may not have noticed the packaging for olives on the shelves. But when taking a stroll down the aisles, you'll find that green olives are packaged in a clear glass jar while black olives come in a can. Okay. Although canned black olives are always pitted, you might miss the label on a glass jar of green olives and munch down on a rock. Okay, it goes on to that. Let's get to the meat of this. All right. The story behind the conversion from a jar to a can is a not so happy one. But according to the Oroville Mercury Register, the brains behind briny black olives themselves is Frida Ehman, a German widow and farmer who helped launch California's olive industry. Okay. Because they women are always behind the esoteric. I'm trying to let you know. According to Marketplace, Frida Ehman invented the black olive, also known as the California ripe olive. What you may not know about olives is that the green ones are actually picked before they're ripe and later pickled green, which is why they're much firmer than black olives. And the darker the color, the more ripe they are. That's what you need to know. Okay. In the 1890s, Ehman's olive ranch in Oakland didn't spark much attention by the community, but after she approached the University of California, let me pause for a second, in the 1890s. Okay, all of these dates are important because this, once again, the dates substantiate that this Blanco knew about your crystals for a very long time. And we're going to establish this without a shadow of a doubt. Okay. And after she approached the University of California for tips on come on, man. Let me continue. For speeding up the ripening process of the fruit, her business officially started. It took her months of hard work, but once she perfected her recipe, she sold locally until her olive business started booming, leading her to expand orchards nationally with factories. She was originally packaging the olives in barrels with a loose seal, then in glass jars to prevent any liquid from spilling. While this made for prettier packaging, the innovative technique to properly sealing the jars spelled disaster. Okay. According to Food Safety News, a deadly outbreak of botulism in canned ripe olives spread across 3 states in 1919, killing 19 people. This occurrence still remains in the top 10 deadliest food outbreaks in American history. But how did they trace it back to the olives? So they trace it back to this party and all of this different stuff. But just to make a long story short, now this reinforces the idea of paying attention to the so-called canning process. But we know that this is the narrative that they want to give us. They canned this shit and took out the energy of these olives for a reason. But we'll get into that. But we're going to let them explain the reason why they started to can black olives, okay? It says the olive industry took a halt for about a decade before canning became well known and processed properly, according to Smithsonian Magazine. The National Canners Association and California Canners League took action to save the canning and food preservation industry. By 1925, procedures were put in place and other items such as sardines, tuna, and other vegetable products were also sold in cans. The kicker is that cans need to be heated to 240 degrees Fahrenheit for a minimum of 40 minutes. A can would tolerate that, but a glass jar would bust. This would not only seal the food, but the heat would prevent spoilage, allowing canned goods to last longer. That's so-called the theory, but we know that that's far from the truth. So these Blancos knew that this olive is associated with you, so a lot of our people like olives. I'm one of them. I grew up on them, right? But we know that we're not getting the right ones. They color this. We're going to go to another article right quick. Go to another article. They're dyed black. Okay. Olives are dyed black. You see what I'm saying? But so the answer is olives naturally turn black as they ripen. When unripe, they are green. As they ripen, they get reddish, then purplish, and finally black. Okay. It says that they are picked very green and then cured using dilute brine and lye solutions. A brine solution is like salt and water. Lye treatments cause natural phenoloic compounds in the olives to oxidize to a black color. Calcium chloride salts. We know what salts are. Crystals, iron salts. And compressed air bubble through the curing vats help develop the black color. So there is no black dye used for some of them, but it says that, but the olives are treated to make them a nice uniform dark black. But some of them do use dyes. So it's other articles that obviously let us, become aware of that. You know what I'm saying? But we're finna go right back to this spiritual article, and then I'm finna wrap all of this up as we read, as we get into some of this, get into this information. Okay. So let's go to the, this article here, The Biblical Mystery of the Olive Tree. Now, we went over this. We talked about, we're going to go over the intro a little bit, and then we're going to read a couple of passages, and then we're going to go into the meat of it to bring out the point that I'm trying to relay to you guys. It says, what is the significance of the olive tree and olive oil in the scriptures? Why were olive trees shaken, and why were the berries beaten and trodden down? Why were kings and priests anointed with olive oil? What does olive oil and the olive tree symbolize? There's far more mystery and truth hidden about the humble olive than most begin to imagine. Here is new insight on this remarkable plant, its oil, its wood, its ancient usage, and its function and typology. Okay, the Hebrew word for olive tree is esheman, which literally means tree of oil. It is from a primitive root meaning to shine. It means richness, anointing, fat, fruitful, oil, ointment, olive. It is related to the word shemesh, to be brilliant, and which also is the Hebrew word for the sun, that brightly shining orb in the sky. Our central power source, which we know is plasma, right? Okay. All right. We know that the Encyclopedia Judaica said there are trees in Israel estimated to be 1,000 years old that still produce fruit. This is the very, one of the great things about this olive tree. In its old age, it's able to prevent fruit, and it has regenerative properties. Obviously, too, we talked about how you could chop the olive tree down, and then from it'll sprout from its roots, new growth and new life. Its contorted trunk and is very special too as well. We'll see how special it is. We're finna go down to the many uses of olive oil, and we're finna read something that's very, very important right here. Interestingly, the cherubim, mighty archangels of God depicted in Solomon's temple, were fashioned of olive wood. We read, quote, inside the inner sanctuary, he made 2 cherubim of olive wood, each 10 cubits, 15 feet high. 1 Kings 6:23. They each also had a wingspan equal to their height. Verse 24. Olive wood is used for fine cabinet work in Palestine. It goes on and on to show you all these different things. So even when they talk about God making the angels, he used this tree. It's supposed to be the chosen tree. Even in this article, it talks about how they think that the olive tree was the tree of life. But I'm telling you that it is, right? And this is one of the reasons why we can't get to our crystals. But we know this, right? Let me close this out. It's hard for us to get to our crystals to revitalize ourselves. We know, remember, even when I brought this up, remember, we even had people in it, fam in the chat. Albert even looked as I was talking, he talked about how he couldn't find these olives anywhere. The real olives that we're supposed to have, this Mediterranean diet, like you all in the chat had talked about, which now makes sense when they were talking about when they eat these olives, how they feel so, get this vital energy and feel refreshed. But yet they got all the good olives, right? But they getting you the trash. They giving it canned to you. You ain't never tasted a real black olive in your motherfucking life if you bought them out the store. Okay? And that is dangerous to know. Like, this is how dangerous a system is. And we're showing you, we're looking at these dates, 1800s, late 1800s. We talked about the transatlantic cable line. This is before the Civil War they laying this. So they're very intent on what they're doing. They're very purposeful. Okay. And with that being said, how much do you need to know? If I got telescopes and I'm going to the moon, I'm letting you know I'm super intelligent. So with that intelligence, why they still fucking with you, Negro? They not smart enough to not fuck with you. They smart enough to go to the moon, but they not smart enough to stop fucking with you. So what is it about you? Let me look at this chat right quick. All right. Yeah, like Sovereign Energy said, trust nothing coming from them. No, you can't trust shit coming from them. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, that takes you back to an idea right quick before we go into something else. Remember we was talking about crystals, because we're gonna go revisit this video, man, which is very, very powerful. We have to revisit this because we're gonna hone in on this, because as we're talking about this, I like to give you evidence that blows you away, to let you know without a shadow of a doubt this is the nature of this realm. Now, even if we take a look at something, we're talking about these crystals, understand that this is why everybody else is under duress, because they're crystal hunting. All right. And we know that we are the primary crystals that they want. This is they're here to harvest us. But it also, they use the other crystals for their to get a better understanding of how to take advantage of us, or how to really actually kill us, because they have yet to figure that out. And I'm going to show you a video that substantiates that. But when you take a look at all of the turmoil in some of these regions, the Middle East, and obviously we look at our people in the Congo. Remember, I told you the Congo is one of the 13 countries that lies on the equator. So it constantly gets the sun to beat these crystals in the ground, right? To create these magnificent crystal structures, right? And so they extract them and they use them and they weaponize them, because these are plasma wars or Star Wars. Now, we take a look at Mexico. What did they discover in Mexico? We're finna show you. It's, like we said, seeing is believing. All right. I'm finna share my screen. These are look, these are people. Those are people, brothers and sisters. These are the crystals they found in the mountains in Mexico. In Sierra de Naica, Chihuahua, Mexico. Okay, Sierra de Naica, Chihuahua, Mexico. These are the crystals they found in Mexico. These are people, that's NASA in there running around in here looking at these crystals in Mexico. And you wonder why when them Blancos find them crystals, they put your country in disarray and they kick you out. They put your country in disarray and they kick you out. You see what's going on in the Congo? They found crystals. We showing you those crystals in the Congo. We showing you these crystals. We're finna go into a video to show you why they're doing it. But this finna accent it. Okay? This finna relieve any doubt, any equivocations are all going to disappear because you're going to see without a shadow of a doubt that this is why they're here. They're unapologetic in their stance, which means you have to be just the same. This is a war. Even if it's not against your counterpart, which an individual says, I ain't got no stake in that, I ain't got no dog in that fight, doesn't matter. There is a system that is already in place that is ravishing the earth. One in which they articulate is the sixth wave of extinction. So what you gonna do? You gonna lie down, just let them do the shit? You gonna wait for China to do something? You gonna wait for Russia to do something? Fuck all of them. This our shit. We don't wait for nobody to do nothing. Shit, fuck what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, what I'm finna do now is we're finna go into this video to show you why this is important. We're gonna start it at the 47-minute mark. Right, because this is very important. It's gonna go back off into the world society, but we're gonna hone in on something because I don't want y'all to miss the mark on this. And I think that when we replay it, because you've already heard it once, when you see it again and you hear it again, you're gonna realize how important this is. So I want to preface this by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship. But overall, here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. All right, hold on.
Midterms are starting next week, so with tough school times like this, it is important to set up for success.
Damn, bitch was hawking. They can't wait to play ass to your ass. Hold on 1 second. Skip this shit. All right, here we go right here. And that's a good part to pause in because we got to understand how deep this shit is. All right, I'm finna share my screen with you guys. All right. Now, as you notice, like we said again, notice celebrating crystallography, Bragg centenary, centenary, you know how to centenary, 1913 to 2013. All right. And so we're gonna go to the 47-minute mark. Probably is an ad by the time we get there. Powerful stuff, powerful stuff, powerful stuff. These next 13 minutes is going to be some of the most powerful stuff you're ever going to hear in your entire life. Okay, brothers and sisters, these next 13 minutes is going to be the most powerful. Now, mind you, remember, I'm setting the stage. Remember, we talked about this before. If it was a brother like me talking about what I'm talking about right now, remember, I'm telling you the same thing this Blanco telling you. But most people, if you recommend my channel, they're gonna be like, man, that brother on some, that space talk. I don't know, man. I mean, crystals and, all that shit, bro. I don't get down with all that. I don't know, man. He pretty far out. But yet these white folks dress up in tuxedos. They come out of Bentleys. They coming off of private jets. And they ain't one person stood up in this motherfucker. And I'm gonna remind you of that as we watch this video. Ain't nobody stood up in this audience, walked out, and ain't nobody shouted to this Blanco man saying that's pseudo shit. Crystals? What the fuck is you talking about? Nope. Let's hear him talk. Let's go.
Or Crowfoot, as she was before her marriage. This is the structure of penicillin that was sold during World War II and published shortly afterwards. And this, she published in the late 1950s, is the structure of vitamin B12, a massive molecule, and it was the biggest molecule to have been solved at that time. So a single molecule has over 100 atoms. And so the technique moved on in power thanks to the application of the Fourier method, which had been pioneered by the Braggs. And crystallography is now simply an embedded part of chemistry. So as well as telling us about...
Understand this. What did he just say, brothers and sisters? Crystallography is an embedded part of chemistry. See, remember I talked about being fundamentally sound. See, when we get people who talk about, you might research a video, right? Research a video, and this got something to do with electricity, like we showed you earlier. Remember the guy who's talking about electricity? He's showing light beams and all of this different stuff. And he's talking about nothing you can talk all about electricity and what you want to know about it, but you got to understand the basis of everything is comes down to the study of how crystals form. Light is just the medium, right? But crystals I would say crystals are the medium by which light travels through. So in order to get a better understanding of light, you got to get an understanding of crystals. That's why they have X-ray crystallography, because it's the study of how crystals form. If they can see how crystals form, they're like, we can know how it uses light. Think about it. The brain is a crystal. They don't know shit about the brain. You trying to get to know God and don't know the brain? How can you rely on the Blanco to tell you about something outside of yourself and he doesn't know his fucking self? You don't know yourself. The brain is a crystal encased in a central nervous system connected to a spine that actually communicates with your body via a peripheral nervous system or nerves that extend out from the spine. It's literally like an alien inside of a vessel. That's why you can become paralyzed. You can have full awareness of you being alive, but you can't move the vessel you're in. The brain is separate from us. Matter of fact, before we go off, and I'm gonna show you why this is important. The brain is separate. Yeah, because we gotta show this right quick. Let me show you this article because I'm off on a tangent. I forgot that this applies. Let's look at this article right quick before we go into this video. Scientists think they're on the verge of breaching the blood-brain barrier. Okay? The human brain is the body's most protected organ, and for good reason. To keep our body's control center safe from pathogens and toxins, the brain and spinal cord sit in privileged exclusion from the rest of the body. The brain and spinal cord sit in privileged exclusion from the rest of the body. But this ivory tower also poses a significant barrier to medicine. See this Blanco case, since we know this Blanco is weaponizing his medicine, he's upset. He can't breach to your main crystal, but I'm going to tell you he working on it. Let's see. Let's go. Today, virtually all large molecule drugs and more than 98% of small molecule drugs in the human bloodstream are unable to enter the central nervous system because of a locked gate known as the blood-brain barrier. Remember what blood is, though. Blood is mostly plasma. So it's this plasma barrier preventing any other crystals from entering the crystal framework or the ivory tower. Oh, this about to get deep. Scientists say they are now closer than ever to smuggling important treatments through or their weapons through. Look how this Blanco talking. I'm telling you, this is where racism lies. In biological and chemical warfare, when you marginalize it to menial relationships, such as running into a Ken or a Karen and thinking because they called you nigga, that upset you, motherfucker, you better wake up. And I'm sorry for the language, but I got to tell it like how it is today. Cause Lucy, they acting like Lucy, and you know what Ricky say about Lucy, you got some explaining to do. All right? So I'm not going with all of this shit no more, right? So let's go back to this video. Let's let them talk.
Material science, it's now a regular routine tool of chemistry. The database has over 500,000 crystal structures in it, and 40,000 new structures are added every single year.
So they're telling you they're creating at least 40,000 new crystals every year. I've been telling you they're bringing beans in here because I'm telling you, they know that everything is made of crystals. So when they tell you they're creating crystals, and the basis and the fundamental act of life is to create itself through crystal formation, what are they telling you? It's our responsibility to become symbol literate. They right here, they telling you this shit. Let's go on because like I said, this is going to be the most powerful 13 minutes you've ever heard in your life.
So much for chemistry, which isn't really my subject. What about biology? So again, this started relatively...
Hold on, let me make sure. Okay. We rocking. Let's go.
Early. So it was in the 20s and 30s that people started to think about how you could apply X-ray methods to look at biological problems. Biological proteins are much bigger in general, and so it's much more challenging and demanding. But again, Bragg, father and son, actually were both very instrumental in inspiring and guiding people to tackle these problems. One of the first to get involved was a chap called Bill Astbury, who worked here at the Royal Institution as part of William Bragg's group in the 20s and then moved to Leeds. And here we see the work of one of his PhD students from 1937 or 38, Florence Bell, and this is actually one of the very first X-ray diffraction patterns of DNA, of nucleic acid.
Okay, now he's letting you know this is one of the first X-ray patterns of DNA by Bill Astbury and Florence Bell. Mind you, because they women always got to be in the center of esoteric shit. And see, you taught that in they Masonic lodges, they don't allow women. If they don't, think about it, if they had something to hide, what in the hell is this Blanco woman doing partnering up with them on this esoteric shit? What the fuck would it matter if a woman can't be allowed in the damn Masonic lodge if they allow them to be a part of some esoteric X-ray crystallography science? Wrap your head around this shit. I'm telling you that the Blanco woman is in this shit and has more of a sophisticated role than you could ever imagine. All right? But then also what you notice, if you take a look to this entire video, which I've watched this video twice, they never even mentioned Rosalind Franklin, who came up, who is credited with the photo called the UFO photo, which I've shown you the article. And she had gave it to James Watson and Francis Crick, which they are credited with the discovery of the DNA molecule. But anytime anybody talks about DNA, understand that this is the nature of the story. So once again, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, be fundamentally sound. If a nigga come to you talking about DNA, show him this shit. Because you can't talk about DNA without talking about biological crystallography. That's why niggas make no sense to me. People want to come to Heru and they be like, man, Heru, you should debate this person, that person. We not on the same level. I can't talk about DNA with a motherfucker unless I explain to them biological crystallography. Then they would have no fucking clue of what I'm talking about. And you know what they're going to say? Oh, he's pseudo. But yet I can show them a video with some crackers and some tuxedos with a whole bunch of money saying the same shit I'm saying. Fuck is you niggas talking about? Let's go.
Now, you don't have a pattern of spots because this is not exactly a crystal that they're analyzing here. This is a fiber, but DNA has a very regular structure, so it is crystal-like. And
DNA is crystal-like. Oh, let the Blanco man say it's crystal-like. Oh, I'm going to be ad-libbing this motherfucker. I'm his hype man. This cracker should be a rapper because I will go everywhere being his hype man, talking about crystal this, crystal that. Y'all got me fucked up because if I said I'm in a cult, if Rashad Jamal said he's in a cult, but this cracker right here, they in tuxedos. Look at George Bush. I think that nigga look like George Bush right there. He done resurrected himself to hear this fucking lecture. Look at this Blanco right here. She looking up. Everybody's keenly aware. Focus on 100 because they know what the fuck they looking at. Let's go.
You can see even in this early pattern, this is 1938, the typical sort of X pattern that is characteristic of the double helix that was eventually to emerge. Now, the whole story of the work on the structure of DNA in itself is convoluted and tortuous and deserves a whole lecture in itself. What I want to focus on tonight is the crystal side of biological crystallography, and that was kind of kicked off by this chap, J.D. Bernal, an Irishman from Tipperary, who worked one of his first students.
So pause, look, pepsin, a protein. He says, brought to us some crystals, pepsin, prepared by Dr. Philpott in the laboratory of Professor V. Swesberg in Uppsala, whatever it is. They are in the form of perfect hexagonal bipyramids. So when these crackers say you got to get your proteins, next time you show a cracker that these proteins are crystals. Because if Heru say proteins are crystals, if Heru say lactose is crystals, I'm crazy. Even I swear it's so hard for people to grasp this. But look at these Blancos. This shit man, let's go. Let's continue. It
was Dorothy Hodgkin or Dorothy Crowfoot. And Bernal, he started off as a theorist. He wasn't very good with his hands initially, but under William Bragg's tutelage here at the Royal Institution, he eventually mastered the technique and became a crystallographer of some renown. And so people would just send him crystals. And so a friend of his was traveling in Sweden. In Svedberg's lab, they had accidentally grown crystals of pepsin, and their friend said, I know someone who would give his eyes for the...
Accidentally grown crystals. Come on, man. They always got to fucking see. They never want to tell like that. Who the fuck accidentally growing crystals? When I tell you a Blanco lying, when they mouth moving. Okay, let's go.
Those crystals, and so he was allowed to take them away, carry them in his coat pocket back to back to Cambridge, where Bernal was working at the time, and they put them into the beam, and they produced the very first X-ray diffraction pattern from a protein crystal. It must have been quite a moment. Unfortunately, the photograph that they took is lost. It was probably destroyed.
Yeah, it would be lost with your lying ass. You got the photo. Unfortunately, it was lost. Okay, all right. Let's let this. I gotta go to London to see this motherfucker personally. But let's go.
Destroyed in a bomb during World War II. However, it probably looked something like this. So this is a diffraction pattern from a crystal of hemoglobin, which was taken...
Oh, diffraction pattern from a crystal of hemoglobin. We've heard hemoglobin before. Why? Because it's fucking blood. It's the molecule that helps you to transport oxygen, they told you, and it is a crystal. Watch him talk. Hold on. Did anybody get up out the state? Did anybody walk out of the room yet saying that he's speaking pseudo shit? Is anybody debating this Blanco, raising their hand saying, you're telling me that blood is a crystal? Did any Blanco raises? Did any old fart in that motherfucking audience raise up? Say, I cannot stand this. This Blanco is speaking mayonnaise. No, did anybody get up? Nobody got up. Okay?
Taken by Max Perutz, who was also a student of Bernal's just a few years later. But you see a fairly similar, must have been very similar to the pattern from Petzl. And you can see many spots in here. You get many more spots because the molecules are much bigger. Now, at that point, they couldn't really analyze the structure. They couldn't work it out because it was too complicated. It was even beyond the Fourier methods that they had at the time. But they realized, and this is 1934, that it was initially published by Crowfoot and Bernal, so Dorothy and, Sage, as he was known, because he was such an intelligent and well-read person. Everybody called him Sage. And there was two things they realized from this. One was that because they had regular diffraction, it meant that the protein molecule is of a perfectly definite kind. That meant that the protein molecule had a definite structure. Before that, until that point, there had been a lot of debate on this point. It was thought that it was like...
See, he telling you that it had a debate on that because they thought protein was like what you see in your books in science class, like some blood, these shapes, these illustrations. That's why I told you they only give you illustrations in your K through 12 mindfuck. You see what I'm saying? And that's what they thought that it looked like. But the Blancos, remember I told you they had to go through a fight. But remember, as I began this video, he said that, remember, X-ray crystallography is now firmly embedded in the science of chemistry. Now chemists don't debate about that no more. They know everything is crystals. But before, the Blanco thought all this was flesh and blood, which I'm telling you, that's why religion does you a disservice. Oh, you're nothing but flesh and blood. No, chemistry says you are organic metallic being. Chemistry says calcium, iron, magnesium, selenium are all metals, are all crystals. The blood is crystals. That's why all the tribes are represented by crystals. Rubies, diamonds, different tribes are represented by different crystals, and he knows that. This is why I'm telling you he's going to war with you. You're already at war. But you know what you waiting on? You waiting on the Blanco to tell you he at war with you. This motherfucker destroying the earth, and then you waiting on him to come on TV and say, it's World War III. Bitch, it's World War V right now. What the fuck is wrong with you niggas? Catch up. Let's go.
Like a colloid, a rather sort of loose association of peptides. But here they showed because it diffracts, then it is a definite structure. And they further realized that they now had, through this X-ray method, the means of really getting to grips with what proteins look like and what they could do. And although it was going to take quite some time before they could realize this, they knew, and certainly Asprey and Bernal knew, that they were on the cusp of, I think, a major breakthrough. And there's a very nice quotation in a letter from Asprey to Bernal, they were pals, where Asprey says, "If you and I do not make the most of biological crystallography, we should have our respective bottoms kicked."
Oh shit, here go that dry ass European humor. Mayonnaise they like to sprinkle that humor in there. But this show you how important it was. Remember, they started to figure out, oh shit, we found out crystals make everything. And look, they sent the letter to each other, and this all these blind, if you and I do not make the most of biological crystallography, we should have our respective bottoms kicked. Man, shut the fuck up. But this is what they knew. They're like, we gotta get ahead of this shit. Right? So let's continue to keep going, and because obviously they tickled themselves with this shit. If you and I do not make the most of biological crystallography.
Well, I don't think they deserve to have their bottoms kicked. They are unfortunately not as well known in the scientific world as they deserve to be. Their names are well known inside the crystallographic community. That's partly, I think, because they didn't themselves solve any landmark structures, but they both did early work and inspired other people to go on to work on structures that were themselves landmark achievements. Asprey's initial work helped inspire Maurice Wilkins to get involved in analysing DNA, and Wilkins was very instrumental in pursuing the project to fruition. Bernal, he had mentored Hodgkin and also people like Max Perutz. But it took until 1959 before the very first protein structure was solved. And what a moment that must have been when this model appeared. I won't offend the sensibilities of the fine.
Now, they get this model. Now, check this out. This is deep because this is myoglobin, all right? This is myoglobin. Myoglobin, hold on. Let me talk to y'all right quick. This is deep. So you'll see if you the scientifically inclined will understand. You hear hemoglobin, you hear myoglobin. Now, myoglobin was the first crystal that they decoded. The first crystal that they decoded, as he told you. Now, myoglobin was cheap. They was trying to figure out myoglobin because it's like, damn, humans have myoglobin. We have human, if you want to, we can't call it. With crystallogens, we all have myoglobin, but according to them, myoglobin in humans is only secreted when there's like a tear in muscle tissue or something, or an injury. When we have an injury, then myoglobin kicks in to help repair muscle tissue, right? But other than that, we can't gain access to it. Myoglobin is similar to hemoglobin because it's an iron and oxygen binding protein. That's what myoglobin is. So myoglobin and hemoglobin are similar in that respects. The only difference is we don't use it the way other animals use it. Who uses it like that? That's myoglobin. Or remember, it's a tissue. This is the tissue that they took out of a sperm whale. So I just want to set the stage for this because they really don't tell you what myoglobin is. So myoglobin is a mammal's ability to be able to store oxygen. This is what allows sperm whales and all these mammals to hold their breath for a long period of time. Because remember, they always surface to get some oxygen, but they're able to hold it for extremely long periods of time. All right. And myoglobin allows them to do this. But remember, myoglobin is a crystal. That's a crystal. We all have these same crystals. Oh, you about to say, well, I'm finna lead with this, all right? So when you understand this crystal framework, remember what I'm telling you. As you understand it better, now these ideas are being able to morph into different things. To fly, to move shit becomes a lot more possible because now you're like, I know what this shit is made up of. I know how to get myself magnetic to do this shit. They know it. If you don't do it, guess what? You're going to run into some beings that are doing it. I can guarantee you. Because these are Star Wars. These are plasma wars, brothers and sisters. You better understand that. So let's let him continue. But I just wanted to kind of prep that because he still got a lot of important stuff to say. So we finna transition over to the next screen. To the screen and get it cracking.
Ladies and gentlemen of London, by telling you what I think it looks like. But the disappointment in Perutz's voice is palpable. Could the search for ultimate truth really have revealed so hideous and visceral an object? Part of the disappointment was because the crystals they initially had weren't very good and they didn't scatter to high angle, and so that limited the information that they could get. And so the model really just shows the fold of the polypeptide chain that reveals the structure, but you don't really get any biological insight from a model like this. And this came 6 years after the structure of DNA had been solved. Actually, DNA had been solved on the basis of much sparser information, but it produced this beautiful double helix.
Notice what he said. Listen to what he's saying. DNA had been solved with much sparser information. How are you going to solve something with little information? They didn't know. They was just fishing around. Remember, that's why it was called the UFO fucking photo. But remember, we told you that crackers like to speak mayonnaise. They want to sound like they was intelligent back then. No, they was just crystal hunting. They got a hold of our fucking information, and then they went crazy. Remember when I told you that they was laying those lines? Remember that transatlantic line that they had laid before the Civil War? We showed you a video of that in the previous segment. If you want to see that, check out the previous segment. We don't have a lot of time to keep picking back and forth from videos we had already shown. But remember that you have to see water as a very important component in that whole exercise, because water has salt in it, which we already know salt is a crystal. Okay, so when they lay, that's why you like, why would they lay the lines underwater? Because remember when we showed you how we demystified electricity, it is when electricity radiates. So when that electricity radiates, what you have, hold on, I gotta say this to y'all face because y'all think I'm scared of y'all. Hold the fuck up. Let me minimize this motherfucker right quick. Hold up. I'm finna drop a jewel on your ass, because what you have to understand is when you see them laying these landlines and stuff, or this technology. Remember we told you they had an idea of it in the 1800s, okay? And they was laying these lines, and they got you thinking like they all at war and in disarray. Remember, they always got things in conflict when they really doing something underhanded. No matter how no matter how crazy it may seem, remember the real work is going on behind the scenes, and they letting you know what was really actually going on. So in all that chaos, they was laying this line. Now remember, they showed you how electricity worked, and so the electricity had to be. They realized when they shot more energy that they could amplify the energy within the ocean. But who operates off electricity in the ocean? Dolphins and whales, sonar, and all of this different shit. So they throw off communication. So now you got animals in our fellow kindred and carbon crystallogen beings in the ocean. Their patterns are being thrown off from your internet. You need your internet though, don't you? Right? We need this, we need that, because that's how we getting all our technology, through those underwater sea cables. All your communication, your cell phone, all that is coming from these underwater sea cables. So when these animals come out from beaching, they beaching themselves. The whales are coming on shore dying. They can't take the pulsations. But yet, you gotta have this shit. The artificial matrix is killing Mother Earth, but you don't give a fuck. Because you want to vote for Trump. Trump can fix it. Trump can fix it. Let them, what Trump tell you? Trump says Star Wars. Trump let you know what the Star Wars is all about. And just by chance, they going into the caves in Mexico, and I told you all the illegals was going to be coming. They knew the illegals was going to be coming, because we kicking them out when we get their crystals. Just like everywhere we go, when we discover your crystals, we kick you the fuck out. That's what we do. That's what we do. Fuck is you talking about? Niggas better get, man, I'm telling y'all, man. Y'all, man, come on, let's go back, because I got hype and I ran off on a tangent. Let's go back, because we still got some heat to deliver. So let me share my screen.
Molecule. It was just elegant in its simplicity, and it immediately suggested the mechanism for how genetic information is transmitted from copy to copy. However, within a couple of years, the crystals improved and their analysis improved, and soon they had a model of the protein structure that really did have all the atoms in it and was starting to give us real biological and mechanistic insights. So this is myoglobin. This is a protein that comes from a sperm whale. It is an oxygen storage molecule, and so it is the molecule in the muscles of the sperm whale that allows this incredible beast to hold its breath for a very long time. So the initial myoglobin structure was solved by John Kendrew. That was done in the Cavendish lab at Cambridge, again under the watchful eye of Lawrence Bragg, who was director of it at the time. And Perutz himself, working in the same lab, produced the structure of hemoglobin a few years later. This is in the early 60s. And this is a protein that's found in the blood of all mammals. It's the oxygen transporter, so it carries.
So remember that hemoglobin. They decoded hemoglobin in the 60s. Mind you, what was you going through in the 60s, my nigga? You was getting your ass kicked. Civil rights movement and shit. They beating your ass over the head. Yet they know this about crystals. You think the Blanco had to mature? Oh, he has to learn. No, he's in his lab seeing what crystals are made out of and seeing how this world is deconstructed. Then he takes on his night job and nightstick and beats your ass upside the head in his night jobs. That's what the fuck he do, because he know who contains the real crystals. He ain't gonna give up, nigga, till you understand that this is what the fuck it's all about. But let's continue.
Oxygen in your blood from the lungs all the way through your tissues and back into the lungs. And immediately, this was just the second molecule structure to be solved. But what was remarkable about this was that when they overlaid the structure of myoglobin on it, they saw that it was almost the same as one of the chains of hemoglobin.
So this is how they discovered that crystals were similar in all of us. This myoglobin, remember, this is from a sperm whale. This hemoglobin is from a horse. Woo! This crystal right here is from a whale. This crystal right here is from a horse. And when they overlaid them, they matched perfectly. I am killing you niggas. They know that this energy that exists, we all carry the energy of being anything we desire on this planet. Like I told you, why the fuck you think you wanted to come here? Because to be anything is limitless. You start off as one thing, but you can become anything you desire. Literally. Literally, there is nothing new under the sun. So when you see this shit about shapeshifting, this is nothing but people who do crystal work. That's why you always see crystals associated with movies where they got witches and goblins and all of this different shit, because they wanted to make this shit fantasy to you. They wanted to make it myth to you. All right? But we here to deconstruct this shit, because this motherfucker is not intelligent, man. And I'm letting y'all know this shit, bro. I get angry when a motherfucker tell me that they science is oh, DNA and nigga be sitting up there repeating they shit like they intelligent. Oh, you know, deoxyribonucleic acid, nigga, you know, it's a transport of proteins. You know, you can't shut the fuck up. That Blanco science is trash, nigga. And trash go in the garbage can.
And myoglobin from a sperm whale, the hemoglobin here was from a horse. But it showed an evolutionary connection. And this was the first time that people had seen evolution working at a structural level, at a molecular level. And this is a type of insight that we get from structural biology all the time now. Previously, it had really just been looking at morphological similarities in the external appearance of different animals and different...
See what he said? He said, before it was morphological. Before I had to look at you physically and try to understand what you were. Now I can go inside you and see how your crystals work, because this is what we use. This is how important X-ray crystallography is. So remind you, anytime you're talking about any innovation in biology, any innovation in chemistry, it all is coming from X-ray crystallography. This is the only science they use. Period. End of discussion. A nigga come to you talking about they did DNA research now. How are they doing DNA research? X-ray crystallography. They are using this science. There is no other science these blancos are using. So when any nigga come to you talking about this science and that science, and you know this prevent, the blancos not using that, bro. They're not using that. They're letting you know what they're using right here. And we're finna put the nail in the coffin as he continues to keep talking. If it ain't nailed in right now, I don't know what. I'm actually burying my motherfucking coffin because I don't know what y'all do. I don't know if people staring at theirs. My shit in the ground. We throwing dirt over that bitch. So let's let this Blanco continue to keep talking.
Species of plants and so on. Now we can look at and study evolution at the molecular level. So this is another benefit of the technique of crystallography. So a later structure, lysozyme, was solved here in the Royal Institution in a group involving D.C. David Phillips. And again, this was now at the time when Lawrence Bragg was director. And this sketch of the protein molecule is actually done by Lawrence's own hand. He was quite a talented artist. And what a pleasure it must have been for him, and this is 1965, thereabouts, 50 years after he and his father had first sort of worked on this technique and solved the structure of just 2 atoms. Here was the structure of lysozyme. This is an enzyme. This one is from chicken eggs. It actually helps the chicken egg to fight off bacteria because it chews up the bacterial cell wall. This is a modern representation of it. And we can now see in atomic detail, the orange molecule is a small segment that looks like a bacterial cell wall. And so we can see how the enzyme works, how it catalyzes pulling apart this molecule. So crystallography gives us incredible molecular atomic level insights into the world.
Crystallography gives us incredible molecular and atomic insight. Crystallography gives us incredible molecular and atomic insight. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to make sure you know these key points with this Blanco talking about. And anybody want to talk to you about DNA, you shoot them this video, seeing things in a different light. How X-ray crystallography revealed the structure of everything. Enough fucking said. My goodness.
Workings of biology. And it has just gone from strength to strength. That result was from the 1960s. These days, we now we have much better kit, but we're basically doing the same thing. We are still growing crystals. We are still collecting X-rays.
We are still growing crystals. We're still collecting X-rays. Okay? Nothing's changed. Blanco letting you know I'm still on my mission. Nothing's changed.
Diffraction patterns, and we are still solving structures. The kit's a bit better, so rather than a Crookes tube, which is what the Bragg started out with, we've got one of these. This is a particle accelerator. It nestles
particle accelerator, the diamond light source. Let's let the Blanco talk about how pimped out he is and shit, because you niggas think you got money. Let's let the Blanco, these niggas running around with diamonds and these fake ass, they running around with crystals on the outside of them. Blanco worried about the crystals inside you. I am killing you niggas. Let's go.
Oxfordshire countryside near Didcot. This is the diamond light source. It is the most expensive scientific facility that Britain has built in the last 10 or 20 years, and it is something...
Most expensive science facility Britain has built in the last 20 years. Okay? This man got money behind... This where he work at. You niggas ever had a job where you work and you know you making some good money? This man came to work in a tuxedo. Who the fuck you know comes to work in a tuxedo? This money. They let you know this we call it the diamond light source. We know everything crystal. We know y'all the crystallogians, but we come here to war with you. We built this big ass facility where we come and create thousands of new crystals and organisms a year. And then what we do on the news, we put out these new organisms you ain't never seen and talk about alien life. You ain't never seen this shit before. Because you know I go into these labs in here and I mash crystals together. I take a crystal from a horse. I take a crystal from a sperm whale. I put them bitches together and I come out with an alien you ain't never seen before and I'm like, ooh, this motherfucker came from Mars. Man, they pulling up. Man, let me stop. That might have been went too far for motherfuckers. I might have went too. Let me go.
That we should be very proud of. It's an excellent world-class facility. So now we just grow our crystals and we take them to diamond and we fire X-rays at them. And instead of the sort of early patterns like hemoglobin, this is now a modern day diffraction pattern. And as we illuminate the crystal, we can rotate it. And instead of collecting data on photographs, we now have electronic detectors that capture the diffraction almost in real time. And from all of these different images, we can then work out structure after structure.
There you go. Enough said in this war, brothers and sisters. I mean, if you don't know that they serious by now and that this is the art that they use in order to garner their clarity, then you're still lost. You can go back. I opened a rabbit hole for you. You can go back to talking about DNA. You can go back to talking about viruses and yeast and stuff, that they're all crystals, crystal warfare. He even says, you listen to this video, talk about yeast crystals. When you hear a new virus come out, they crystal war. When they in their labs, the Chinese is working on their crystals too. Everybody's in Star War mode except you. Everybody else is in Star War mode except you. Okay? You better understand what niggas waiting on. We waiting on people outside of our crystal makeup to come save us. These crackers told you we from the Caucasus Mountain. We from them ice crystals, baby. They make songs about it. When that ice crystal come through, them crackers be like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. We got dancing and blitzing and something and cheer. I don't know how that shit go, but crackers be like, hey, they be excited, nigga. It's death coming. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Shit don't grow. It's death. Nigga, hey, enjoy this shit. This is where we come from, this crystal makeup. Bitch, you see our crystals falling down? We love this shit. Let's play in the crystals. Woo-wee, boy, I'm trying to tell you. All right, so we got a few minutes, man. We got a few minutes. We're gonna get into a little bit. I'm gonna look at the chat. So I could take a couple questions, but we said, we want to keep this vibe because I know we get to that 2 hour mark. You know how ScrewTube is. These niggas just coming upon 2 hours. They're building this crystal energy. Motherfucking crystallologists just waking up to what the fuck they are. Not who you are, but what you are. All right? Not who you are, but what you are. Now, you know, can I get fire emojis? I mean, what was this information? Was this information, was y'all interested in this information? Did y'all feel this? Was y'all feeling this? Let's see. Riz said most black people are laws, bro, and poison and outside of stuff. You ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying. I agree with you on that. Yeah, and he also said the firmament is crystal, diamonds in the sky. No doubt. Christian Powell said that's why they want people to be consumerists, because they know people would want to have, would want to have instead of being. Exactly. Deep shit. Yup. Definitely deep. Angela Fraser says time to group up, people. I'm trying to tell you, you got to develop that strong network. You know what I'm saying? Shit. It has to be that way without a shadow of a doubt. It has to be that way. Kai said, I think Kai said, you break it down so beautifully, my 12-year-old understand. It's just that the cognitive dissonance is real heavy. Yeah, that is. It's just true, Kai. It is heavy, you know. Sky Green says, I love you, Heru, and you need to infiltrate the government and get this. Hey, we gonna be doing what we do on our end and shit, Sky, but I definitely appreciate the love, yup. Yeah, listen. Chef say debating with dudes is apples and oranges. Yeah, Chef like, nigga, get out of that bullshit, nigga. Talking about debates. Yeah, that's what's up. All right, hold on. Let me look down here and see, because I went up. Yeah, Albert said, I tried to explain how they never really seen DNA in alive, and a nigga called me smooth. I'm telling they don't want to believe. We think this Blanco God, bro. We desperately want to believe, because Our knowledge is built off what he told us. That means that's a big part of your identity. How many people want to backtrack? How many people want to be like, oh, everything I know is a lie? But yet you was told the devil ruled the system, and yet you fine with that. If you gotta know that if everything is a lie, if the Bible told you the devil ruled the world. I mean, what you thought he was like, yeah, I'm gonna rule this world and I'm gonna cause you death and shit, but I'm gonna tell you the truth some of the time. Now, don't get me, no, he's gonna tell you lies all the time. It's gonna be embedded and it's gonna permeate through every area of life activity, like Dr. Neely Fuller and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing articulated, which is economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, religion, and war will all be controlled by this artificial matrix. All right. So you have to do your job. We told you with the things to do. You get your crystal work. You get the right crystals. We told you about Ceylon cinnamon. On that note, let me show you that because I was just about to forget. Hold on. Let me share my screen. This, brothers and sisters, is a site, Azure Standard of Healthy and Abundant Living. Okay, like if you want to get your olives and stuff like that, all natural stuff. They even got soaps and all that. I mean, they got all organic stuff, all organic produce. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Carrots, organic carrots, $8.75. For I think that's probably like for a pound and all of that. But yeah. Then you got cabbage, red organic, you know what I'm saying? Some $2.58 or $1.49 a pound. This is where I got my black olives from, and I got the black olives, obviously, that was in water and salt. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Water and sea salt. Because your salt, remember, you got to understand what your salt is, because remember, salt is crystals. That was the first crystal that they decoded, brothers and sisters, remember, because they know that salt works inside the cell. It transmits signals. So that's why, if you notice, by chance, it's not by chance that black people are at the height of hypertension and atherosclerosis, the hardening of arteries. You know what I'm saying? Heart disease is still the #1 killer in the United States. And what is the heart job to do? To pump blood or to pump crystals. Okay, so don't let this Blanco fool you when he giving you them punk ass crystals and killing you. And then he'll feign ignorance and he wants you to go to his hospitals to get treated, to get on his medicine, to even further damage or shut down your crystal framework, because he hasn't found a drug that can infiltrate your main crystal yet. We've already shown you the article. All right, so here you guys go. This is that site. You go to Azure Standard and you can get your organic produce from there. So, with that being said, I think we covered almost everything. And Red said they would do you like Rashad Jamal. Well, the difference is the difference is I'm like Bobby. Like Bobby said, I don't want a nigga to follow me to the bathroom. The job is for you to follow yourself. Look, when you follow yourself, guess what's gonna happen? You gonna merge with other crystallogians anyways. You see, when I tapped into myself, what am I able to do with you guys? I'm merging with you guys. But it was only when I tapped into myself. And like I told you, I just so happened to be blessed to be tapped into another sister who was woke, who woke me the fuck up. I was woke up by Mother Nature. That's what I tell niggas all the time. Niggas be like, man, the black woman is, black woman that. Mother Earth didn't allow me to be raised like that. My mom's married. Both my sisters are married. My auntie's married. My grandmother's married. When I was 14 years old, I spent a lot of time with my great-great-grandmother. I've been around beautiful black women all my life. I've had some of the best sex in my life with black women. I don't know what niggas is talking about. And I don't want to know what niggas is talking about. I don't have a problem with black women. You know what I'm saying? And I feel so bad for those who do. I really do. I mean, I've never had a problem getting pussy my whole life anyway. So I don't know what other niggas is feeling. That's just a department that we never worked in that department. When they say clean up on aisle 6, hey, Rue, don't do that. We don't do that. All right. So yeah. Unica Rector said meat eaters stop eating pork at least. I mean, goodness. Yeah. I'm trying to, if you got to tell a motherfucker that by now, my goodness. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. That shit crazy. All right. So, basically I see a lot of comments because I know this is the FOF squad and shit. So I know a lot of people ain't really got no No, you know, we got comments and shit. You know, we just rocking and rolling and or whatnot, which is good, because I've been pumping this crystal stuff for the last what, 2 weeks. We've been doing, you know, part 1s, 2s, and shit like that. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just been rocking. So I know y'all probably like, man, I'm on it. Y'all more or less probably on doing the work than it is asking questions, because y'all be putting me on stuff too, man, and I absolutely love it. I get emails and stuff from you guys all the time, text messages. You know what I'm saying? Me and O be rocking out on you know, going off on the 6, 7 levels of understanding and stuff. So yeah, and you know, me and Riz, and so we always be, everybody be politicking and really on building and stuff. So it's absolutely phenomenal. So, you know, I just want you guys to continue that. I want you to understand that this is exactly what it's all about. The shadow work is the crystal work. Continue on, because there'll be much more signs and wonders, but you'll know where it's coming from. Always remember the fundamentals, because even if things seem crazy, this is the only thing that you really have to work with. And it's the best thing to work with. This is the ultimate power. It aligns yourself. So all this chakra and light and all, it all goes back to crystal work. Don't let them fool you. These crystals really do have power. The cocoa has power. Remember to get the right one, not the lettering not the word that ends with an A, but the one that ends with the O when you get your cocoa. The Ceylon cinnamon, okay? You know, we talking about the real natural olives, that real oil, because mind you, each food color represents, or it's aligned more with the chakra, more often than not, right? But the olive tree is aligned with the pineal gland. That's why it's called the anointing and that sort of oil. Okay, it aligns itself with the pineal gland. That's why it's rich. Remember, it's in this area of darkness, complete darkness. All right. And remember, we told you about the substantia nigra, or the black substance that's in the brain. It's the loss of the loss of this neuromelanin is the result of Parkinson's disease. This is what gives, you know, dementia. All right. And remember, they coined another phrase for dementia, which is called type 3 diabetes, because they know that the adulteration of sugar crystals is how they get your main crystal to work, because that's the only way they can do it. Remember, they don't got many synthetic drugs that can pass through the blood-brain barrier. So they got to create false crystals in order to do it. I am killing you niggas so that the real one of you can wake up. And on that note, you know, we have to know that all of this stuff is very, very powerful. And this is what we're going to use in order to transform ourselves. This is the bridge from the natural to the supernatural. And if there's nothing else to be said, and yeah, Christian Powell said that cocoa is the truth. I'm telling you, because this is something, man, that we gotta make sure that becomes concrete with us. That becomes conviction. Remember, we want to transform our opinions to conviction. We want enough information to encourage a paradigm shift so that we're absolute in our stance. We know that our enemies, the individuals who stand at the gate, are ones that are unapologetic in theirs. They have a mission, and this mission is to control or usurp the power of the natural matrix and replace it with the artificial one. And our job is to prevent it, because we are the custodians of this energy, and we are Mother Nature's vanguards. And with that being said, who is God? God is the judge. And why is she the judge? Because she decides who wins and loses, not my opponent. Who is my opponent? He does not exist. And why does he not exist? Because he is merely a dissenting voice to the truth I speak. Crystallogians, speak the truth.
True love slips away, but I know that our love will survive, 'cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive, 'cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. Thinking what this life has to mean to you, and I like to say, why sleep? I was hoping when awake we'll make our dreams come true. Didn't hear me say, changed, my life changed when night came and we came together for love. It seems that life's strange, cause light came when dark flames had came to come tear up our love. And I don't wanna play no games, no. Just a baby in the day you give me your last name. Oh, there might come a day when life of our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more.
She can't talk with no dry eyes. It's sunsets on that sky ride. Her hands up, no high five. I'm so high, I skydive. My life now feels screwed up. We don't move or we don't move up. I swear life is a ghost town, cause all we do is stay glued up. I can't lose you, I'll fight back. Cause who can give me these nights back? Just arches up in that nice back. She drunk in love with no nightcap. Just comfort me and my block scars. Won't take long to see rock hard. Just a wedding ring that's rock hard. And long nights when I'm rock hard.
There might come a day when life of our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more.